has been a struggle. Tried about everything around this whole pond for, I don't know, found some clear water, tried that for a long time. So back to this first spot. Alright, well, that sucked. So it was cold, muddy water. And there's also a high pressure system coming in, like 20, 25 mile an hour winds, gusts over 30. Yeah, so not making excuses, not that kind of person. I pride myself on being able to catch fish in anything, but we all know that cold, muddy water is terrible. You can ask anyone. It is the worst condition. And I'm not talking stained water. It's a difference. I think a lot of people kind of don't get that. Muddy water. Like you can see your lure like an inch or two in the water. And then cold. So I figured, even though right now, after you just watched that, I don't really seem like an expert, but I figured I would do a little tip sort of video on what usually works, what I have found to work in the cold, muddy water situation. So let's get into that. Before I get into this, I think there's a lot of things. I get a lot of comments on reviews and tips videos, especially tips videos and stuff. I never claimed to be the best bass angler in the world, and I never claimed to know anything or everything. Well, anything, maybe, either. No, everything. No one knows everything about bass fishing. That's the great thing about this sport. I have been doing it for 25 years, and these are just things that I've learned. If there is something for this condition that also works for you that you have learned, put a comment down below. Let's talk about it. I would love to learn something else, maybe, whatever. But the point of these is that even if you learn one thing out of them, my job is done. That's what I want. Something maybe you didn't know. Alright? So, get into those in a minute. We'll start, where do bass go in cold, muddy water? First place I always like to look, just because it's kind of my style anyway, laydowns, brush piles, trees growing, those thick woods that they like to hang out to. They will go super, super close to them, pretty much right in them, or really right in them. If it's a whole laydown of branches and stuff, right in those branches, really huddle up against them. They like to have something they can relate to, something, and those they can still see in the water, they can feel them in the water, you know, big branches and things like that. So they like those, they will go to those areas. That's a great place to start. Another thing is warmer water. The muddy water can actually help to kind of heat up that water a lot more, and warmer water is another great place. The northwest corner, I don't really hear this a lot, the northwest side of the lake, the pond, is usually the warmest. The sun is constantly shining on it. As soon as it raises up out of the east, obviously the sun rises in the east, right? It is automatically shining on that side. Might not be shining on that east bank. It's not, because of trees, the bank, whatever. That's not getting sun, but it's shining right on the northwest corner all throughout the day. The last time that it will not is before sunset. So there you go. It's constantly getting the sun. It warms up a lot faster. There you go. That's a good place to start with that. Also, you need to know how the water is getting dirty or got dirty. If it's high winds where it's stirring water like crazy. It's obviously going to stir up the stuff in the bottom, get that going, wash stuff off the banks. It's going to get it that way. Kind of more of, coming up from the bottom up. Okay? There, even though the wind was blowing, I could actually tell that the water was actually getting dirty because of the snow that was on the walking trail that went through there, and then steep banks. In certain portions, you could actually see where it was washing. The snow was melting and washing down the mud and stuff off of the banks into the water. So obviously, underneath that real dirty stuff down deeper, it's clear. Bass will hang out down there, they'll clear, let the bait fish go through the dirtier stuff, look up, get them, things like that. They don't want to be in the super dirty water. It has less oxygen. It's obviously gets in their gills and stuff. It's not that much fun, and also the sight thing as well. So it's not. They're not huge fans of muddy, silty water. So yeah, so that's a great place to start. Deeper areas in that situation as well. Tributaries, coves. If you're on a lake that has those and stuff like that, will also not get as much wind. Obviously if it's still got the melting situation, it might, be melting into those too and all that. Just try your best to find clear water where you can, clearer water. So we'll talk about that real quick. The lake I was on, it's a pond, or it's a lake. It's a real big pond, really. But okay. Goes like this. This is the main lake area. It's like, true. And then there's like a hook, like a dog leg, smaller area over here. Right? This and then this. Bins. And this area's a little smaller. Over here, that's where I started, just because I know that area, and that's where I always catch a lot of fish out of, and really good ones. I like that little cove area back there. So I started there, and the water was disgusting. And that's because the banks are like this, so that's where all the mud is going in there. The rest of it, that main lake part, doesn't have as much steep banks, and also the trail where the snow was and stuff is actually tilted the other way, and there's a ditch that runs along the outside, so it's actually more rushing that way. So the main lake was actually clear, so I did start in there and then noticed that and tried it for a little while, and then moved out to the main lake and tried that, whatever. And it had a couple more inches visibility. The other reason it wasn't washing in there too is where it makes the bend. There's a long shelf there that I know of that runs across the whole thing, about 15 feet wide to 20 feet wide, and it's about 2 feet deep, and then drops off like 10 feet on each side. So the water's not really doesn't rush as fast through that point and doesn't get into that other water very well. So there's that as well. But yeah, tried the clear water on the main lake too, deeper water, all that stuff. But it just wasn't my day. But these things, usually work and all that. So yeah, lay downs, sticks, all that stuff. Clear water, warmer water. That's pretty much it. Now, obviously, you're going to want to, in muddier water, you're going to want to throw lures that are going to get their attention a lot more. Bright colors, a lot of movement, but it's also very difficult because it is cold and they don't want to chase something that is moving very fast. It's a difficult time. But yeah, so you want to go with those. So we'll get into lures. Give me a second. Alright, so lures. Obviously around those laydowns and stuff, flipping a jig in there. Black and blue jig. This is a NewTek jig. I like these a lot. On a lot of these, this actually wasn't even the one I was using. That one's still on a pole. But I have a bunch of them. So, black and blue jig. This is a Missile Baits D-bomb trailer. Something to give off some good action, but not maybe super crazy. Trailer you can kind of change up. Here's actually a trailer that works really well. Hold on. Actually, this is a trailer that works very well in dirty water. This is a Lake Fork Trophy lures, I love the smell of garlic. That's my favorite scent. Actually, we'll get into that too. But these, like, this little paddler on these give off a lot of vibration and stuff in the water. They work really good in muddy water. So, check those out. Lakeport Trophy Lures. Pitching a jig into that cover area. Black and blue jig. Money. Showed you the Hyper Freak. Now, this is also something you can really do. This is JJ's Magic Dip and Die Chartreuse. Dip your tails in the chartreuse. I'm not going to do it right now. Especially because this stuff is the strongest garlic scent I've ever smelled. Like, it's crazy. But I have all JJ's Magic Dip and Dies. They're good stuff. And big fan of scent, like I said. So, that Hyper Freak has scent on it. I also use... Hold on. Nope, not in there. Nope, not in there. I'm struggling right now. Where did it go? Oh, nice. That's great. That's really great. Right on my nice shirt. Man. Just kidding. Where did I put it? Oh. Also, huge fan of Liquid Mayhem. Also, really great. Garlic is my favorite scent, but scent is a big thing in cold water and dirty water. So use the scent. And also use this. Brighten up those tips, those little pinchers. That works really good as well. Alright. Anyway. So, more lures. Now flip that around the cover. There you go. The other thing, and we'll go to this one next. And you know what this is gonna be. A chatterbait. Whoa. For those of you guys that know my channel, black and blue chatterbait. If you watch the chatterbait versus spinnerbait video I did, I pretty much only throw green pumpkin chatterbaits and black and blue chatterbaits. I do not do white and chartreuse chatterbaits. I don't know. It's just not my thing. Black and blue works really well. I also have a D-bomb on there. This will be its D-bomb. You can do that. You can actually go with a swim bait. Gives off good action. That will help in the muddy water. Yeah. Cast them out into those deep areas. Let them fall. Slow roll them in. Slow as you can roll them. Do that. Also work with different levels. Just kind of try everything. Oh, and going into actually the jig, I should have mentioned this. Slow down. Okay? I think people fish a jig too fast anyway. Let it fall. Couple just little pops like that. Let it fall. You're gonna let it sit there for a while each time. Let it sit there on the bottom. Got a good jig like this one that just naturally just stands up. That's really good, That's why I like these New Tech flipping jigs. They stand up too. A lot of the little flipping jigs really don't do that. So, anyway, there's that. Black and blue chatterbait. Said. Put scent on that as well, and you can also dye the tip of your trailer too. Also works. Alright, now, actually we'll start with this one. Spinnerbaits. Single Colorado blade gives off that good thump. You also watch that chatterbait versus spinnerbait video. Talked about really my favorite spinnerbaits are single Colorado blades, and I usually fish them in really stained to muddy water, and that's just most of the time where I fish them. So yeah, spinnerbait. I love black spinnerbaits. I don't know. A lot of people don't really fish them. They work really well for me. Black, really good in that muddy water. Or you can go completely bright, try to get their attention. White and chartreuse works very well as well. And I actually didn't mention this on the locations thing, and I don't know why. Totally forgot this. I also was talking about this in that cold water lures video. Rock dams. Rock dams that the sun is shining on, especially in that northwest corner. Right there, where the rock or the sun is shining on those rocks, holds a lot of heat. Bait fish will come up to those rocks. Bass will come up to those rocks, even in the really muddy water. So, also another really good place to try. Great place to throw the spinnerbait. Alright. Spinnerbait, you're also just kind of going to throw it in the same places as you do as the chatterbait, you know. But, alright. Crap. Also, with the chatterbait, you can also, you'll also fish it around the cover, just lay down the stuff, cast them past it, roll it past them, bounce it off there best you can. Also, something that a lot of people don't do, you can take a page out of Brett Height's playbook and flip it and pitch it into the cover. Work it, let it fall like a jig, give it that pop, a couple pops up, blade will go boop, as it's going up, get their attention. It also works really well doing that, flipping it into that cover too. Gives it a little bit more action and get their attention more. Right. Another lure that works with this crankbait has a ton of rattles, round trap, things like that. Super rattles, nice wiggling action, and the great thing is you can fish it at any depth. It's really why I love lipless crankbaits so much anyway. They cast a mile, you just get a good old half-ounce lipless crankbait. They will cast a freaking mile and cover a lot of water, helps you kind of search for those fish. And I like to just slow roll it through those deeper areas, those clear water areas, drop off things like that, and all that. But you can fish at kind of different levels, and it's just got a lot of action that can really get them in the muddy water and the cold water. It's great. And then also, obviously, like, if you're into this, and I don't know even why I didn't grab one of these, but it shouldn't take more than a second. Last but not least, crankbait. It's really into crankbaits. No, I'm really not a giant crankbait guy, really. Don't really throw a whole lot of them. Obviously, I throw crankbaits. Who doesn't throw crankbaits, right? But it's really not a key lure for me. But yeah, chartreuse crankbaits, like square bills, just because they give off a lot more action. They have a real big wobble. And then you want them with really good, loud rattles on them. That is great for that muddy water. Cold water, it's also difficult too, though. Any of those moving baits, it's hard because it's so cold, but if you can get in those areas like I'm talking about, you can find them, get it right in front of their face, you can get hit. It's just a difficult time, but these are just the things that I have found to work and I like using, and like I said, don't look like an expert after the fishing, but it's just one of those things. It is extremely difficult to fish in cold, muddy water, but yeah, that's it. So I'm done. Thanks for watching. Actually, next video, within a couple days, I will have a tip video that you absolutely need to watch. It is the most important tip I could ever give anyone. It's very, very important, and actually it's kind of two parts, but the biggest tip I can tell anyone that I think everyone needs to listen to definitely check that out. Should be within a couple days. Might even record it right now, right after this. Maybe not, but alright. Click on my logo in the upper left hand corner to subscribe. In the upper right hand corner is the last video I made. In the lower right hand corner there's a video I know you'll enjoy. And make sure to hit that like button down below as well.